What's good, y'all? Welcome back to the best channel on YouTube. Today, we got another segment of Podcast Sunday, where me and guests speak on different topics about self-improvement and motivation, personal-wise and business-wise, while also providing some fire gameplay. Appreciate you watching, and let's get into it. All right, welcome back to this Podcast Sunday series. We are discussing the 10 ways to find your purpose from the article we both read on entrepreneur.com. Welcome back, Terrence, to the podcast. As
Thank
always,
you for having me back. I'm excited to discuss the rest of this list.
Sure. All right, so we're just gonna get right into it. Not too much talking in the intro.
Yep. So I'll start with this next one. Number 4 by Jonathan Ruggiero. He is a co-founder and CEO of Wedding Band Company. He quit his job, moved cross country, got married, and started a business in a month. And probably a successful business person. Not very familiar with his work, but he sounds like a cool dude. His fourth topic, or his fourth piece of information, he says, look to your past to find your purpose. He says, many inspiring entrepreneurs feel unfulfilled from time to time. It's how you channel that unsettled feeling that ultimately builds character and points you in the right direction. My suggestion, look at your past. Take an inventory of the moments in your life that brought you the most happiness, perhaps in a school trip, abroad, a high school project you loved working on, or simply a hobby you no longer have time for. Try to recall memories where you felt excited and passionate, and then reflect on how you can recreate those feelings in your career today. You'll be amazed at how a little reflection and open-mindedness can help you get back on track and doing what you love. Life is too short not to. So, I guess you could start with a breakdown. What do you think as far as that suggestion, finding your passion? Have you done similar things to help you get to where you are now?
Yeah, so basically what I got from that is I think it's something that, all of these stuff I believe I said in the last one, they kind of all come together because, like I said, it's just all different perspectives.
Right.
But this one is definitely necessary. Like I had said, I forget which one it was. I think it might have been 2, where I said about the analysis. So I think even this is even going into the analysis because you have to look back into, like, if you're working a job and you're just not happy with it, basically what this I'm getting is that you're supposed to look back and find that place where you were happy, find out what you're doing when you were happy, and that would help you figure out what you're supposed to be doing, because what you're supposed to be doing is ultimately something that's going to make you happy.
Yeah.
So if you
I think your story kind of mirrors this perspective as well, just because you were going for the whole chef career, and you had the chef in mind, and it wasn't making you happy, and you literally looked into your past and saying, hey, I love playing video games. I spend a lot of my time devoted to that. It's something that gave me happiness. Why not start a gaming channel? So I think that directly correlates to what you were talking about with the self-analysis, and literally you look back into your past to find that.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's definitely a necessary thing for you to do if you are looking into finding your purpose. I mean, some people are just content with where they at, but I wasn't content. So then I did exactly what it said. I looked into my past. I figured out what things I enjoyed doing, even though I still enjoyed doing it, but I wasn't. You just have to make sure you have to analyze, like I said, what you enjoy doing, then go back to see what you can do in that. So that's, even with my experience was that I was doing a job that I didn't necessarily like to do. Yeah, I said in the previous podcast, I believe the last one. And I just realized that I just wasn't happy, and I knew I wanted to be happy, and my parents always pushed me to figure out what I wanted to do, Um, I did have a previous thing that I had was like pushing that I love to do, and I enjoyed doing it, which was cooking.
Hmm.
So I mean, even growing up, I was just gung ho for cooking. I loved being in the kitchen, loved making food, loved
Right.
everybody like eating the food, and it was just great. It was great. But I mean, as I got older and I just like came more into myself and just realized a few different things about myself, and just even as I just kept going on, um, I just realized that I love cooking more of as a hobby, I would say. So it wasn't
Right.
necessarily something that I could see myself doing. Like I don't know why, but even when I thought of cooking, I just could never see myself as a chef working in a kitchen. I just was
Hmm.
unsure of exactly where I would fit in, that I would actually still
Right.
enjoy, just because of me looking at other chefs and just seeing what they do, and it just wasn't clicking for me. But I
Hmm.
kept saying that I love cooking just because that was what I had from when I was younger. Um,
Right.
so then, and I didn't really, and to be honest, I really didn't have any thoughts of anything else that I could do. Um,
Hmm.
so in some just looking into myself and just sitting down and really thinking, um, I came with this idea, which was earlier this year, 2019. Um, that's where I started gaming channel because back in the day, I used to always play games. That was the best memories I ever had was playing games with my brothers. Um, just having a good time playing games with my cousins, Terrence,
Right.
Tim, just everybody. I just remember all my best memories was playing games. Of course, we
Right.
would like do stuff out of games, but a lot of my good
Hmm.
memories, I'll say, is playing games.
Yeah.
So then I kind of went back to that, just try and see if it would be something that I would enjoy. I mean, I knew I
Hmm.
would enjoy games, but it's a whole different thing with doing like the YouTube stuff and
Right.
stuff like that.
What kind of like made you? What
Mhm.
kind of like made it click for you? Going back and thinking, thinking back to your past and
Mhm.
his suggestion. Like, what made it? What allowed you to see it differently than when you saw, cooking
Mhm.
or being a chef?
I guess I would say that I'd seen so many different avenues where I could take it that
Uh huh.
I like before I was just playing for fun. I just was playing just to
Right.
have fun, just to play with my friends. But then, I mean, even looking to it now, or what had clicked in my head that this could actually be something that I could do. Which I always grew up watching like gaming channels and stuff like that. I never really thought anything of it. I was just like I said, I was
Hmm.
just watching it for fun, playing it for fun. But then, I mean, like I said, thinking about it, I just realized that there's so many different avenues that you can go into with it that I just didn't even have the knowledge of or didn't even think of before. So once I realized that, that's when it really clicked, where I started to kind of switch the mentality that I didn't have to be that one thing, which was a chef, and I didn't have to be stuck to that one thing. I could experiment other things because like I said, I had other things that I enjoyed doing.
Hmm.
Um, so I mean, even right now, like I always say, I'm still experimenting. So right now, this is still even an experiment in itself. But I just
Right.
took that step to um, look into my past to see what other things I can enjoy, because I knew that I could just feel, and like I said, I couldn't see myself in a kitchen. I couldn't see myself taking orders and stuff like that. I mean, like I said, I
Right.
enjoyed cooking, but I now looking back, I more would say that I enjoyed it as a hobby, not as a
Hmm.
profession. Um,
Yeah. So I think that I think that's a huge conversation to have, especially with this type of suggestion. Although it's a
yeah.
very great suggestion, and this person is obviously speaking on something that's very essential for a lot of people, and
Hmm.
realistic,
Yeah.
to look back into your past. But you have to understand that just because I guess in your case you enjoy cooking doesn't mean you wanted to make you wanted to make a hobby into a career.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to identify the feeling of what that hobby brought you.
Yeah.
And also identify if that feeling is something that's applicable to a career.
Yeah, exactly.
Versus just something that you enjoy. Because there's a lot of things that I enjoy, but I would never, want to do it as a career. Like, I enjoy editing videos. I did that a lot when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And even for like class projects and stuff, I was always the one to volunteer to edit videos, and I like putting my little twist on different things. And I've taken a film class to learn more about that kind of stuff. In college I took one, so it's just like I liked it, but I would never do it as a career if I was lost, because it's just something that I don't have that big of a drive for, just something as a hobby. So I think that tandem is important to understand. You got to look into your past and then see what's applicable to your career.
Yeah. So, I mean, definitely not everything that you enjoyed can be a career. Like, you could have enjoyed, even know. I'm thinking like you can kind of make a career out of a lot of different things that you enjoy. Dang.
You can, but like, it may not be the career for you.
Let's say you enjoyed walking dogs. Not saying that it's not a career that can be made, but do you really see yourself walking dogs every day for the rest of your life? Probably not. But you could have enjoyed it back in the day, making your little money and stuff like that.
Enjoy the peace it gave you, but when you got 10 dogs on a one leash, that's not peace anymore.
Exactly.
That's just a job.
Exactly.
So it's a lot different. All right, let's move on to the next one.
Right, so
number 5. I'll let you take that one.
Yep. All right. So we have Get Comfortable with Failure for the next one. It's from Michelle L. I'll just say that so I do not butcher her name. Michelle L. is co-founder and chief product officer of wedding band company Manly Bands. Okay, so Get Comfortable with Failure. My dad, also an entrepreneur, gave me permission to fail at every sport. And I did. But he taught me that it's important to try with feeling, because you never know what you will be good at. The more you fail, the more comfortable you become in your skin. The more you find what you do and don't like and where your talents lie. So dive into your current job and identify what parts of it makes you giddy. Then you will have some direction of where to go. If you work in customer service but have an eye for fashion, for example, volunteer to help the product designer for the next season. If the new role excites you, have a chat with your boss and see if they can help you make the transition permanent. So I guess you could start off with that one.
Yeah, so I think this is a good one too. We recorded a whole podcast on failure, and I forget which one that was, but it's pretty much just like talking about failure and being comfortable with it.
Yeah.
And I think this is one of the most underrated things you could do, is just go into something not being okay with failing. But like she said here, which I think is important.
Yeah.
It's important to try with feeling, actually with effort. Putting your best foot forward, and not just try for the sake of trying.
Exactly.
Try with intention that you're going to be, great at something, or you might end up liking it. Because if you start something and you begin with thinking, hey, I may not like this, you're just going to look for every excuse in the book to want to quit.
Exactly.
So you got to try with feeling and go in with some vigor.
Yeah.
And also I think we talked about this last podcast, but just being okay with diving into different things, understanding that you will ultimately fail sometimes. And the biggest thing though is, when you're going into these stepping stones, identify what you can make the most out of. Like you said, if you're in customer service and you want to be in fashion, take little things and opportunities that you can get to bring you to that next level. So I think that's That's really
Yeah.
huge and very underrated. I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to add to that.
Yeah, no, definitely. I like how you brought up the point that she had said, try with like your best foot forward. Don't just go into something half-assed or stuff like that, because I wouldn't even consider that trying, because you're not even putting the effort you're not putting your full effort into something, so you can't really get the full scope of what you're doing.
Yeah.
So you won't even know
Full
fully
benefits,
if you like it or not.
Right.
So definitely in everything that you try, you want to make sure that you're trying to reach for the top. You're never going just to try, just to put your foot in the water. You dive in head first. If you fail, you fail. You learn from it. Learn what you like about it, what you don't like. If you don't fail,
Right.
and you like it, then you build upon it. So I mean, just make sure you always never go into anything not at your full potential, because then if you do that, you won't. Like I said, it's not even a try to me. It's like it's not even effort.
Yeah.
Don't put effort in it. Then
Yeah,
it's
just
just
it's just doing it for the sake of doing
Exactly.
it, which is probably the worst thing you could do.
a waste of time. I just said waste of time.
Right. All right, that sounds good. I think we could go on to the next one. If you want to hear more of us talk about failure, go check out that podcast.
Exactly. I was about to
episode.
say that.
It might be like
Yeah, I was about to
might be
say
one of
yeah.
the first. It might be one of the first ones we did.
Yeah, I think it was either
one or
first
two, I
episode, first or second episode.
believe. Yeah. All right, so the next one, so number 6, by Craig Handley. He's co-founder of a company, Listen Trust, and he's author of a book, Hired to Quit, Inspired to Stay. So he talks about training his employees to quit, I guess, with the idea that that they're going to eventually maybe go on to bigger and better things. Not sure, but nevertheless, he says to search for the trifecta. And what he means by that is, he says here, a fulfilling life starts with whatever lights you up. Don't expect your passions to be the primary source of income from day one, because it won't, but don't abandon it either. Find what you're good at and keep doing it. I've taken many behavioral analyses and spent almost 20 years writing music on the side while working in sales and marketing. Now I'm finally starting to profit from that passion by combining my marketing skills and music talent to write music that sells, and interviewing entrepreneurs for a platform called Executive Raps. Combine your skills with your passions and what can make money. Once you find that trifecta, build on it until you can quit your job and dive into your happy place every day.
I didn't even think of that one. Dang. Love that one. Shoot. Getting excited to talk about it. Jesus. But yeah. No, that one's definitely fantastic. That's, like I said, a lot of these stuff, I'm in that situation right now where I'm doing YouTube videos that don't get any views. So no views equals no money. But I'm still doing it, but I'm also still working with my dad, like I had spoken on in the previous two videos. These 2 videos back. So I'm in a situation where my passion is not my main source of income. But what I enjoy doing is not my main source of income. So I have to I would say make a sacrifice, but you have to have a balance between you doing your passion and doing what makes you money, because like I said, money is necessary. It's not something that you just can't make, especially if you're over a certain age. Like if you're still living with your parents, money is not as needed, but if you're out of the house and you're attempting to live a quality life, money is necessary. So you have to make sure that, and I love how he said, don't give up on it, don't abandon it, even though you're not making any money, because in the future it will become your primary source. So you just have to stick with it, but also do what you might not necessarily like to do, and make the income. But on the other hand, you also are
Right.
still doing what you love to do and building that up. So you're not abandoning that, you're slowly building it up and also making income by doing this other job that you might not necessarily like as much.
Right. And I think, that balance is huge, and I think we might have talked about this a little bit on the last one too, but with finding that balance of what makes money and what your passion is, and like you said, finding your passion and what you love to do may not necessarily be the money driver,
Yeah.
but balancing it with something else. Like you could have a passion for photography, but like the freelance photography world is a tough gig, and it may not be as consecutive money as somebody may
Yeah.
like. So you could balance your passion of let's say getting your skill up in photography, so that let's say you are in school for business,
Mm-hmm.
you love photography, and you want to start a photography business, or you want to start something along those lines. You want to balance your passion so that you build up your skill enough to where when you launch a business, you have a quality product.
Mm-hmm.
And balancing that now income driving source, which is a business, with your passion, and then putting it together as an entrepreneur to start something big. And like he said, he worked in the marketing and business world before he started his own company, so he was gaining that skill and gaining money through that marketing platform, and then he was working on his craft all those years to now be able to combine them to push forward and build that trifecta like he talks about. So I think this one should have been one of the first ones. I guess they got to balance them out, but this one is huge as far as finding that balance, that perfect trifecta like he talks about, with the the skills, your passion, and then what eventually can make money. So you got to make sure you focus on having skill. You want to have the skill.
Yeah.
You want to make sure your passion meets that skill, and you want to make sure that you find a way to monetize that skill.
Exactly.
If that's your ultimate goal.
Yeah. And then once you do that, as at the end, build on it until you can quit your job, dive into your happy place every day. So, it's like he had said, he had spoken on how he spent almost 20 years writing music on the side while he was working in sales and marketing. So I mean, not saying it's going to take you 20 years, but just have patience with it. So don't
And I'm sure like he enjoyed it. Like if he made a company out of this marketing stuff, I'm sure he enjoyed it to some degree.
Yeah. You've been doing it for 20 years, you have to have some.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, there's people that don't, but he must have enjoyed it a little bit, and I think that it's important that you have that thing on the side that you're working on, and then the 20 years, just keep working like you said, until you come to that balance where you can now do your own thing and have that happy medium.
So definitely make sure you don't abandon it. Keep going, and it will come. If you stick with it, it will come. All right, so that's gonna be the end for this episode. Of course, we're gonna continue the series. But yeah, so I'm really enjoying that we're continuing to go down this list. But as always, appreciate you watching. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next podcast Sunday for the rest of your day.
Yes, sir.
Peace.